that we talked about, we have a subscription to Nearpod.
Okay.
And so they have lessons that are in conjunction with Common Sense Media.
Yes.
So our plan was just to kind of make it easy for the teachers as well. I mean, Nearpod is so easy to do. We're just trying to figure out now who's going to, like in our middle school, who's going to take that on, you know, which teacher, because you don't want to do the same lesson. I mean, everybody needs to practice digital citizenship, right? But they only need the lesson once.
Right.
You know, they don't need to repeat the lesson. So figure out which class is going to teach that. And then in our 3rd through 5th grade, because they're departmentalized as well. So our science and social studies teachers are going to be the ones, which makes sense, to do the digital citizenship lesson with the kiddos. So that's
Well, I'm
our
just really
plan.
excited you have a plan. That's wonderful.
It's sketchy, but I mean, it's not like we spend a lot of time. It's like, hey, these are here. Let's use them. So
Completely. They're
yeah.
great. And we just had Angela join us. Hi, Angela. I'm glad you could join us today.
Hello.
Where are you coming from today?
I'm at Career Tech. I'm in the STEM division.
Okay. Well, there you go. Do you already know Nancy then?
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
I'm
Great.
going to turn my video on. I got to open you up here.
No worries. Well, that's really exciting. You know, Common Sense Media is such a great resource for everything technology related, you know, especially with, I'm sure some of the people that you know, the mentality of your school. I worked in a pre-K-12 Christian school for years. And I know that, you know, especially even trying to look at the different types of TV shows, video games, everything is just a great resource in general.
Yeah. And they really provide a really unbiased, like, this is the product, you to kind of decide. So I love that approach as well.
Good. So Angela, we were just talking about the fact, you know, I can go through my slide deck in a few minutes, but, you know, my main focus for this year, I think, is really on digital citizenship and making sure that as the access to devices increase, the amount of training and modeling our students see with digital citizenship.
I definitely agree that would be a good focus. A lot of our students will need to have that, hey, how do you present yourself online? And how do you, you know, your presence, your footprint out there that you have, and what you leave, because it never goes away, and a lot of them don't understand that. So
they don't need to see scholarships and everything being taken away from students for, you know, choices that they didn't realize would affect them.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, I think that's a good thing, and I think a lot of teachers don't teach that. And to their students, maybe some of them do, not all of them. And so yeah, definitely.
I think so many times it's always thought of as, well, that's the role of somebody who teaches technology or STEM to do that, you know, especially, you know, there's so much, you know, English, you can talk about your sources and valid news and using of the copyright information. So great. And we have Lonnie joining us too. Lonnie, welcome. She might just be coming in. I know that this is a difficult time sometimes.
Yes, we just got our kids on the bus.
Where are you joining us from?
Cash.
Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, since we do have several people, I am going to go ahead and just kind of start this. Please, this is really completely informal, just trying to make sure that each month I have some form. Now, of course, I have unstable internet, so please excuse me if something happens. I will join right back in. Just trying to make sure that I'm here each month to provide support and answer questions and to brainstorm with you And I think I have some new things that I'd like to share with you that I'm really excited. Hopefully some of your teachers might find them useful. So, you can always reach out and email me is the best way. Have your schools that have already started, obviously, begun making plans for maintaining or building community online for those times if and when you do go digital?
I would say we have. I mean, as much as we can, we've got just kind of the residual of the last spring where we've got everyone in Google Classroom. So the attitude is get them trained now. If that's what you're asking, so we're third and up are all using Google Classroom. We've done extensive training on some of the tools like Nearpod and Edpuzzle and was the other Flipgrid, all of those things that are going to be beneficial. We spent the summer doing Google training. So if we do go remote, virtual, and we do have some students that are on a virtual path already. We have Zoom and we have swivels that teachers can use to swivel their lessons, either synchronous or asynchronous. So kind of in the back of everyone's mind is like, okay, we're here now, we're face to face, prepare for right, prepare for the worst. So that's kind of where we are at. Again, it's not super formalized, but that's kind of what we're doing.
Anyone else? I was also kind of thinking, what are some things, when your students walk into your classroom, there's always that interactive time when it's not all completely lesson focused. And, have any of your schools started to try and think about maybe ways to assess social emotional feelings? Or, I've seen some wonderful things where, some classrooms had theme days, things that would make students want to attend synchronous sessions, or still kind of build and maintain that teacher-student relationship, even though you're remote.
Well, I think that they're really trying, I think the schools that I've heard about, it's really more, they're all just kind of doing their own thing and trying to find what's going to work for them. So I know it's on their mind, and especially based on how it was in the spring, what's it going to look like for us, and yeah. So I think it's definitely something that they are working towards. I couldn't tell you specific platforms that they're using. I mean, maybe Angela can. I know there's just a variety out there.
Okay, because I know that it's a Nearpod and Pear Deck already have some social emotional templates already built in that can be used.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Well, I think the variety of tools that are being used are about as big as the variety of schools that we have in Oklahoma. Because every school seems to be, like Nancy said, doing what's going to work best for them and what's going to be helpful for their teachers and their students. And so, yeah, the tools out there, there's just, it runs the gamut. I mean, I had a question from a teacher just this afternoon about Genius Hour, something I had never heard of. And so, I'm looking into Genius Hour. And so I just think whatever teachers are feeling comfortable with, what, they understand, or what the school's feeling comfortable with is what they're using.
Do you know, are your schools pretty consistent in like learning management systems? I've already heard Google Classroom, and just trying to make sure that within one school, hopefully you're trying to have some consistency in means of either delivering instruction or in means of contacting parents or communicating, because I was just actually reading on Facebook today, one mom said she's got 3 children and 2 foster children, and she's receiving emails from some of these teachers and she doesn't know which child it's directed to, or one teacher is communicating through Remind, and another one is communicating through email, and another one is communicating by posting it all instruction or information and announcements in a platform like Canvas. And I would just really encourage you to try to make sure, if you want parent support and even your students, so that they know consistently, all of my assignments are going to be posted here. This is the one place I need to check each day. And even, as granular as, what is the latest time if you get virtual, like what's the latest time an assignment can be posted and shared? So that, I've seen it where a teacher's like, oh, I forgot to put this in. And at 5 o'clock, they post something in and it's due, at 8 o'clock the next morning, and students have already moved on and haven't gone back and checked. So.
Well, what I'm seeing is district-wide are using the same thing. Google, I see a lot of Google out there. I've seen some Canvas schools that have used Canvas, but a lot of Google Classrooms. And so, yeah, they are using that one platform for, the entire district.
Good.
I've not heard of any schools that are using multiple platforms within the same district. And so I do, encourage that same platform for the entire district, either virtual or face-to-face. So.
And hopefully.
I think that's kind of an admin thing. I know our administration said we're using Google Classroom for all student communication. All homework, all school classwork is filtered through Google Classroom. And then we have, our system, our SIS, that, it's a great resource to email parents and to communicate with parents. So all communication with parents are there. We post our lesson plans for the parents to look at there. But anything, so we're really looking at Google Classroom. It's kind of like your virtual whether you're face-to-face or not, right? This is your virtual world. So I do think that for us, because this is what we were told to do. So this is, I think at some point that level of authority needs to come down so that parents aren't looking here and there and they've got all these sign-ons and, trying to find the work. And yeah, I get the frustration that parents are feeling as a result of that.
I also like something else that you shared. You also said whether it's face-to-face or virtual. And I'm part of I'm not sure if any of you have heard of the Network of Learning cohort that we have with many schools across the state. And, that was one of the things. Some of the schools have said that they were not going to introduce some of these activities to their students until they have to begin distance learning. And, hopefully you're introducing tools a few at a time to students and helping them refine their usage and knowledge of that, because we know parents probably will not be able to support tool usage. And, it's better to have them have some time to practice and use it face-to-face before you have to turn and go for remote or virtual or distance, however we're going to call it there. Good. Well, I do have some relationship building tools and activities that I'll share at the end that might provide you with some guidance. And I know Raymond has joined us. Raymond, we're glad that you have joined us. I think you're still in here. We just kind of have started basically kind of sharing some of the things that schools have been doing and some of the tools. And I was just going to go through some of the slides again. My main purpose today is really to make sure that we at least touch on digital citizenship and provide you and other teachers in your school some tools and resources for that. And then, provide an open forum time for question and answers or sharing and collaboration between each other. So I can't do this without giving my pitch. Of course, we do have return to learn guidance for all areas. And I will make sure that this will be posted. You're going to see the website in here where I'll post everything, and that can help you as well. There is actually one document specific to digital tools. So, you know, again, all of these documents that we share at the State Department of Education are just for guidance purposes. You know, you are local control schools, and everything we share is just ideas that you may find helpful, not endorsing any product or any tool, but, you know, hopefully giving you some guidance and support as y'all move forward. This summer, I'm not sure if any of you were able to attend the Engage OK session on digital citizenship, but I do have a link here. And like I said, as more students increase the use of technology, as people encouraging the use, and whether it's forceful encouraging or, you know, I was one of those people that always wanted my students to be learning and using technology for specific purposes. But we do need to make sure we're talking digital citizenship, and that just is definitely the responsible use of technology by anyone using a computer or the internet or a digital device to engage with others in society. So I've got some questions here, but also to make sure that we have, as a state, accepted and use the ISTE standards for students. And this is the 2016 version. And whether you are an English teacher or a computer science teacher or a history teacher, these are things that will help your students become better learners, better able to use technology appropriately, not just to sit there and play with a device, but learn to use it in a productive manner that will help them as they grow and interact with people worldwide now. So some of these are actually related specifically to digital citizenship. And we're talking about cultivating and managing digital identities and reputations. We're talking about engaging in positive, safe, legal, and ethical behavior. Understanding of and respect for the rights and obligations of using and sharing intellectual property. That could be, you know, pictures of friends, that could be song lyrics, that could be, you know, the most commonly infringed use is images, and providing students with appropriate websites to collect those, and ways to manage their personal data, especially with all of the data collection that goes on online. So I just wanted to really kind of give you a quick overview and some, you know, guidance on what I'm going to call the 6 areas of digital citizenship. There are, you know, you can go to multiple websites and you're always going to find different numbers and different classifications and different organization of information, but this is really, I've come back to these 6 as things are very important. You know, teaching students about media balance and well-being, finding a balance in our daily life. You know, there's nothing like, here we are as educators asking our students to be on devices. How do we know, how do they know when too much is enough? You know, if their time after virtual learning is sitting there playing on devices, what are they missing out? So there are 2 links here that will kind of give you some guidance and ideas for sharing information, both with students and parents, specifically to grades K through 5 and then grades 6 through 12. Also talking about privacy and security. Even though some of this information happens outside of our classroom, maybe with social media, we still need to try to make sure that our students realize there are times when you might take a picture of someone and post it, and maybe that student's family is dead set against any type of digital footprint. I do know families that are like that, where there are no pictures of their children online. And then we also go to the other extreme where when I was teaching in Georgia, I wanted to prove a point to my students. So I just picked some lady on Instagram and went through her Instagram account. My children were like, please don't tell this story, Mom, you're a stalker. I'm like, but she put it all out there. And it got so granular. I could tell you her address, the names of her children, their ages, the name of the school they went to, her son's baseball schedule, her daughter's Brownie troop number. There was a picture of her house with her car in front of it that had her license plate number. There was so much information, and that was shared by a parent. And you're thinking, you know, sometimes our parents need to learn this information as well. Talking about privacy and security, again, talking about not only the privacy of a student's digital footprint and reputation, but also data privacy. Hopefully, if you have attended any of the Tech Tool Tuesday sessions, or you are looking at adding any new tech tools to your repertoire at your school, please make sure that you're really going through and vetting each of those tools. Some school districts have your district IT people go through them. I know that like Moore and UConn, they even have lists of the tools on their school website that have been vetted, saying, you know, this tool is appropriate for these age groups. This tool needs parent permission. This tool has been vetted so it's not using FERPA data or COPA data. So, you know, not only are we're teaching our students, but we need to make sure that we ourselves are using the tools correctly. It's so easy to say, well, nobody will check on this, and this is a really great tool or website to use, and it won't hurt anything. But, and you know, if your IT directors do turn you down on some sites, ask them for alternatives too. And sometimes they may be so overwhelmed with other tasks or jobs that they have that they may not give something a close examination. And when I would lobby for a new tool, I would make sure that I was providing our IT director with justifications. Here's something that this tool can do that really no other tool can do, or it does it better, or it gives students better creativity. And I know that at one point in time, there were numerous Web 2.0 tools, and our IT director was only a PowerPoint person. And he said, you know, if it can't be done in PowerPoint, they don't need to do it. And we went round and round for quite a while, but then we were able to show that, you know, there are other sites, you know, Padlet, and some of those, again, depending upon the age, but make sure we're talking data privacy. Again, digital footprint and identity. Here are, again, 2 documents that can kind of help you get a general overview of some of the facets of these. And these, again, are all from Common Sense Media, and there's some great parent resources on this site as well. Relationships and communication, talking about being upstanders and what do you do if you see bullying. It's so easy for our students to shoot something off because they're not seeing the reaction of the receiver's face. And, you know, it's kind of funny to send something, and we need to make sure that they're really thinking and valuing the other person's person and who they are and what they want. Again, also going through digital drama and hate speech. And if you'll notice, the other section so far had K-5 and then 6-12 resources. And this one is just kind of a general overview altogether. I think that's probably because we're really hoping you're not seeing a lot of cyberbullying and hate speech at the K-5 level, but we do know that, you know, students see older siblings and see what they do, and you know, we need to make sure that we're viewing the whole spectrum of grades. And news and media literacy. We have the wonderful opportunity through everything with the coronavirus and our political environment right now to make sure that we're really helping our students to examine what is fact and what is fiction. And, you know, the rule of 3. If you see something online, look at least 2 other sources to see if that's actually valid. And, you know, that's something that even adults, I'll say something and my husband's like, so where exactly did you get that information? Did you find that on Facebook? I'm like, okay, I'll go back and look some more. And our students, they have grown up seeing things online. And I think that they are very naive in the fact that anyone can create a website, anyone can go into Wikipedia and change the information in Wikipedia. And just because it's online doesn't make it valid, and teaching students how to, you know, validate websites. So in terms of all of that, here are some sources. We know that by you coming here, you are probably one of the leaders in your school or your district or your building, and could be a great resource for other teachers. So, you know, here's Common Sense Media's digital citizenship curriculum. There's DigCit Commit, the Media Literacy Council, and Plugged In are 4 great free ideas for finding digital citizenship material, in addition to Nearpod and Pear Deck. Any other thoughts? I know we had a couple people join us later. Raymond, how are things going with you at your school?
Oh, there we go. It's okay. I think that there's a lot of people, you know, kind of still trying to find their foothold in what they're doing. I've used Google Classroom, and I use Screencastify to present my lessons after we were distance learned after spring break. And so I've got a lot of lessons already into CAN, but I'm finding the different tools that are available now and just getting used to those. Edpuzzle being one of them. I used a lot of Google Forms. That was a lot of, you know, having it, you know, graded right there in the form is always great. And so I think I got them, and being a part of the Foundations of Technology, being part of the Career Tech, hopefully now those students who were in the 7th, 8th grade are going to be a little bit better prepared, because I had all of our students. We're just a small school, so, you know, 36, 37 students per grade. I had them all come through my class. So I've had 2 years of that go through. So we'll see, but it'll definitely help them to realize, hey, this is important stuff. This is where we can get a foundation for ourselves as students to understand. And actually, we all contribute. It's not just the teachers, but it's the students contributing their knowledge of technology too, which is, you know, you start talking gaming and just the different facts of what those students know in gaming is just blows my mind. And part of the digital citizenship too, I was reading an article not too long ago about Roblox and the shady side of it, you know, that there's some things that are going on that we as parents and as teachers don't know what's going on, but we need to know what's going on so that we're not, you know, we seem like they're playing an innocent game. You know, we're going to have to make sure that we know exactly what's happening on those sites that they're on. Not maybe necessarily at school, because it's gone through our servers, so we have it locked down pretty tight. So we're good in that area, but it's just, you know, it's new ground, new territory. So I think a lot of it's going to be here to stay with us for a while.
I have to say I'm really excited about that, because again, this has been my passion for years. Mm-hmm. And it's always been kind of difficult to get teachers to jump on the technology bandwagon. And, you know, we don't want them to give up the face-to-face, the relationship. That's number one in terms of everything with education, and building that comfort level and community with your students. And you can't replace that with technology, but there's still so many things that they can do and learn and see and experience that they wouldn't have the ability to do before.
Yeah, and I think as we get more in sync to each other as students and teachers, I'd noticed one thing that came out of the leaving at the spring break last year was some of my quieter students and ones that wouldn't normally speak up. They had a platform now that they could use. and they were able to now be heard. And the interaction that they had even with the class was a lot different than they did in person. So that was a plus. So
That's
we'll
awesome.
see. I mean, there's going to be good and a lot of things that we can grow on and turn to the good. So we'll just move forward, keep going forward.
That's awesome. Well, I would like to, so we're talking about the virtual meetings, and I know we just had a meeting about a week and a half ago where I introduced the Return to Learn digital instruction tools. So I figured this one, especially with it being like the first or second week of school for many schools, this would not probably be as well attended. But if you have registered, oh, you know what? I said we didn't have to register, but that should be the link that will get you into the meetings from each in the future. Making sure that you take care of yourself and your family, and consider the fact that hopefully your schools have already taken into consideration that, and I'm going to say when, not just if, when there are times of digital or distance learning, that there are expectations and guidelines set out for your school that, teachers should not be answering emails at all hours of the day. There definitely should be forms of communication for students and parents that have questions, but I know that I'm a person, every parent had my cell phone number and all the teachers did, and they felt free texting at any time, but then it did get very troublesome when somebody would send me a text at 11:15 and I would read it and my brain would start processing, and then I couldn't go to sleep because I was trying to come up with an answer. And, make sure that, I know it's hard to say, to take care of yourself now with everything going on, because we can't afford to lose y'all. Your students can't afford to lose you. So there are some ideas for that. We have kind of talked about the fact that I did do the Tech Tool Tuesdays, and all of my recordings are there so that teachers can go back. I also have added the slide decks to that same web page, because when I create a slide deck, I like to make the graphics and label and provide directions that maybe you aren't able to refer to in a video. And then also, please make sure that you're subscribing to the EdTech newsletter. The newest one just went out today. So, but here's what I'm really excited about. Okay, so if you've been at the Tech Tool Tuesdays, you've heard me talk about this set of databases. I have one, trying to figure out the best way to make it so that people would use it and not feel completely overwhelmed. So I've created two, one just general EdTech tools, and then one specifically Google tools. And again, these are sortable by user. Think about the fact that we need parent buy-in or caregiver buy-in. So, to make videos to share with parents, that if your school uses Seesaw or Google Classroom, your parents have an idea of what this tool actually is and what it can do. And it can be something that you can take these and put them in your own little database on a website, that if parents are like, I just don't understand this, or if students forget, let's make students accountable and provide them a place where they can go so that they're not always turning to you to have you answer questions. So not only are there those two, and I did have Nearpod, even though I didn't do any training on that, but if you can come up with other tools, I think I'm going to be adding Padlet to that as well. And I'm trying to think of what some of the other ones that I was thinking of. But if you've got questions, it's easier for me to Google and search and post them so that they're available for lots of people, because you already have enough going on with yourself. And hopefully I can find some of the good quality videos. But this is a new one that I've just created. So this is, again, none of this is endorsed by the state of Oklahoma, but it's just a resource. I keep looking on social media and people are looking, how do you make a Bitmoji? Well, what are some Bitmoji tools? Well, we know that Bitmojis don't change education, but it does give some of the teachers the ability to show their personality. But Um, these are just resources. The majority of them are Google slide templates that teachers can just download a copy of it and modify it. So we've got teacher tools. There are tons of manipulatives, specifically math manipulatives, protractor blocks. I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you, I was so excited playing with all of these. Math games and routines, and some of those are pre-K through 12. Things that are just for fun. Again, more of the Bitmoji things, some social emotional check-ins that you can use. You know, how are you feeling today? With the younger ones, it's just an emoji or a face that I'm happy, I'm sad. When you get up to the high school level, I know I just put 2 in there really quick. You know, what song kind of describes the way you're feeling today? Or what movie so you're giving them other ideas. It's not just how are you feeling today. So they're thinking, they're sharing something of who they are. And then some of them will give you the option that, you know, you can ask a student, do they need to talk to someone? And maybe that's the connection that will help them get from maybe being isolated at home to a counselor within your school. I have some templates for choice boards that are very wonderful. There are primary choice board templates, there's high school choice board templates, and I wanted to get as many of these in as I could, but I'll go back and backfill some. Some community building activities, like I referenced at the beginning, formative assessments, and graphic organizers. So this might be something that you share with teachers in your school, digital notebooks, logo makers, graph paper. Hopefully some of these will be something that you can use, modify, share. And I have given credit to all of the sources because I did make a few of them on my own. In fact, if you are familiar at all with the K-20 Center and some of their instructional strategies, I'm taking their instructional strategy ideas and turning them into digital tools, so that you know, we know that those are proven instructional strategies, 3-2-1, or I see, I think, I wonder. So, but hopefully those will be useful. And if you find any ideas or things that you think other teachers might like, I would love to have you, and I'll just add them and add your name to it or your resource. So just wanted to really update you on that and talk to you about digital citizenship. And is there anything you need or I can do for you, or things you've experienced that, you know, really were successful or weren't successful that I can help share with some other teachers when I talk to them individually?
I don't have anything, Karen. I think what you've done is awesome. Love it.
Good. Well, you know, I don't want to take up your time, but I'm here, and please feel free to email me. I really am horrible with names. So like, I know I've talked to Nancy and Angela, and I can forget names really, really badly. So please do not think that that's just who I am, and I can admit that, but you know, I'm here and want to guide and support and help. And again, if you have something that just knocks everything out of the park, share it with me, because I'm sure that there are other teachers that are really just looking for one success. And if we can share success ideas and help them find ways to recover. I know, again, I keep referring to Georgia because I've only been here in Oklahoma. I haven't even made the 2-year mark. But one of the school districts in Georgia, a huge one, went back virtually. And the parents, just reading the social media comments about how horribly some of the learning experiences have become, I'm really trying to make sure I'm taking some of the fails from them and sharing so that we can find successes. You know, if you're a person that reads social media, the first time a parent puts something negative, you just have to walk away, because you're doing something that's never been done before. And our teachers have not had time to really prepare. No, nowhere, not just Oklahoma, not just, OKC, but in our country. So,
I think that's a really, really big point that I need to start thinking about a lot more too, is how do I include the parents in the student learning? Because we're going to see that that was a disconnect after spring break. They just didn't know. They put the devices in the kids' hand and said, be sure and attend your Zoom meeting and know where you're at. I think we need to do a little more deliberate reaching out. I know they've given us, our superintendent was, make sure we communicate with each of those students every day. I get 125 students, that's going to be impossible. And then again, contacting the parents or the guardians, how is that going to be possible? So, any ideas on those as we go through the school year would probably be really helpful.
I have two ideas right off the top of my head. You just were talking about trying to get feedback. I would even send out, we don't want to burden our parents, but send surveys out from time to time, either just to your students and or to parents, to find out, what's something that I've done that you think has really helped and how can I improve myself? Because sometimes it's hard to receive that feedback, but that's the way we grow. And then you also said contacting parents. Something that I saw that I think has worked really well. We know we appreciate face-to-face contact and the direct, immediately ability to communicate back and forth. But, if you talked about Screencastify, what if you created a weekly Screencastify video, 2 or 3 minutes, something that's not going to take your parents a ton of time, but just say, hey, I just want to connect with you. Here's what's going on now. This is what we're doing. This is how you can help. Here's something new. I think that would go a long way to getting parent support and encouragement.
Well, I know one of the things that I'm going to do different this year, and we have a Liberty Tigers network that I had it as a broadcasting class, and we kind of got a little bit carried away on some of our parodies there and things. So we're taking a new direction. I'm going to include it in my multimedia. But we're going to try to use those students then. I'm going to try to get everybody through every job that's in there, but to use it as this is what we're doing this week. This is, maybe we could incorporate the students into helping to pass on some of this information to the parents as well. So, they might have a tendency to receive it a little bit better, from the students themselves. I think once I kind of modeled that for them a few times, or at least, write their script a few times, they might be able to take care of that later on. And this would be, sophomores, juniors that would be in this class.
Good. Any other ideas to help with those areas?
You hit on the two. You hit on the two that I would have suggested would be the surveys and a connection video. I think both of those would be awesome resources for teachers.
And I think we want to make sure that everything we do and everything we create is simple for us, but also simple for the end user and not something that's overwhelming. You've seen those surveys that come out that are like 25, 30, 40 questions long. And you're like, just give me 3. I will take the time to answer a survey if you give me something quick, short, sweet. And when the parents or the students see that you have taken that feedback and used it, we'll get better buy-in too.
Well, I think on the videos too, boy, short and sweet, our students, we can't, I have a tendency to get a little carried out, with some of the assignments. Man, my goal is 5 minutes is my max.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, we're about 50 minutes in. I will remain on here for any individual questions or thoughts or brainstorming, but thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me and the others and to kind of talk through some of this. And I really hope that I will see you again in September. And again, hopefully there'll be more sharing, more successes, and bring some problems or email me. So
And this slide deck will be available.
this slide deck, and I actually made a recording of this session too, because I wanted to make sure that we know that not everyone can attend every time. So I have to be flexible and do all I can do to help y'all.
Awesome. Awesome. I
I
appreciate
do
it.
have a question before Raymond leaves. Raymond, where are you? What district are you in?
Liberty Public Schools, Liberty Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to look at probably about 30% are going to be distance.
Wow.
Keep our
All
fingers
right.
crossed. We'll be in person for a while. We'll see.
Bye, everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Karen. It was good.